It seems like just yesterday that Porsche introduced their very first SUV. Can you believe it? 4 years have gone by. And when the Cayenne first came out, there were wails of protests from guys just like me who said Porsche has no business building an SUV. They should stick to sports cars. The truth is, the Cayenne has been very successful. It really has helped the bottom line of Porsche. Do you know that over 50% of all Porsches sold are Cayennes? And they've put together a pretty good truck. They actually call it the Porsche of SUVs. And for 2008, it's even better. The overall shape is the same. You might even want to call the upgrades on the outside a slight facelift, but done by a good surgeon. The front grille is a bit lower. The new headlights don't look like they've been borrowed from a Boxster. The grille is bigger, and on this turbo look fantastic. There are new side mirrors, roof spoiler over the back window, a rear bumper with the exhaust popping through the rear valance, and LED taillights. A power rear liftgate is standard on all trim levels. There are 3 intensities of Cayenne spice. The base model, the Cayenne, comes with a V6. Then you jump up the heat a little bit, you get into the Cayenne S with a V8, and then you get to the turbo, and that has a turbo V8 under the hood. Now, I especially like on this turbo model the 21-inch wheels. They look fantastic. But make sure you don't damage one and have to replace it, because it'll cost you about $2,800 just for one. So wait till Lacey gets the bill for doing this. The interior was basically left alone when Porsche did the nip tuck. This is a 5-passenger vehicle. No third row is offered. It's based on the Volkswagen Touareg. The body shell is matched to all the Porsche bits at a separate factory from the Touareg. So even though the two vehicles have similarities, they are not the same vehicle. The dash of the Porsche is less cluttered than the Volkswagen. It has wonderfully supportive seats, and the level of finish is befitting a pricey brand. For those of you who watch driving television regularly, you know I'm always going on about the high seating position that's forced on all of us in brand new SUVs. I got to tell you that the Cayenne is the closest you'll ever get to driving a car with an SUV. The seats go down low enough, you can get the steering wheel down in the proper position. The ratio of the dash to the windshield is just perfect. The other thing is the bottom of the seats don't cut the back of your thighs. The emphasis on the new Cayenne seems to be more on the technical side than the aesthetics. They didn't change too much on the outside, and the inside looks almost identical. It's what they've done to what you can't see that's fantastic. All 3 models of Cayenne receive brand new engines, and the latest advancement is direct injection technology on those motors. I had a chance to sit down with some of the engineers at Porsche, and they said this was the most important advancement with the new Cayenne, but also the most difficult one to achieve. You see, what Porsche have done is up the power on all 3 models, but also help to reduce emissions by up to 15%. The base model gets a new 3.6-liter V6 with an increase of 43 horsepower to 290. The Cayenne S gets a new 4.8-liter V8 with 385 horsepower, and that same motor has 2 turbos bolted to it for this model, the Turbo, and it gets a whopping 500 horsepower. Yes! The very first Cayennes were pretty good if you bought the V8 version. It was the V6, the base model, that really was a disappointment. The motor just wasn't up to the job. The vehicle handled well, but the motor was like, it was always straining too much. Well, with the new V6, it sounds so much better. You get more power. So if you're somebody that can just get into a Cayenne, it doesn't feel like you're sacrificing. There is now a sport button equipped on each Cayenne that automatically tells the vehicle that the driver is up for a bit more fun. The engine computer changes the throttle settings so that it is much more sensitive. The transmission computer also makes adjustments to hold gears longer and be more aggressive. Plus, it opens up the parameters of the Porsche Stability Management to allow for a bit more lateral body motion. For everyday driving, the more sensitive throttle helps when the driver wants to launch this big vehicle off the line quickly. My biggest complaint with the first version of the Cayenne was the automatic transmission. Now, automatics have a nickname called slush box, and that's exactly the term I'd use to describe the first automatic. You'd put your foot into the throttle, you'd wait and you'd wait and you'd wait, seemed like forever, and then the transmission would go down a gear and you'd shoot away. Well, that's no longer the case with this new model. You put your foot into the throttle, the shifts are crisp and precise, and it's nice to see that Porsche has listened and fixed the problem. The most radical advancement is the introduction of Porsche Dynamic Chassis Control, which is optional but a very unique option. The roll bars, front and back, have hydraulic actuators that stiffen them when the Cayenne is cornering or going over uneven surfaces. I've had a chance to take the Cayenne equipped with this system out on the track, and the lack of body roll is significant. On city streets, it makes the Cayenne much more agile and responsive. A pricey option at almost $5,000, but very cool. You get behind the wheel of the Cayenne, any Cayenne, and you realize quickly that it really is the best handling SUV on the road. And I've been very fortunate. I've had a chance to drive the S, the base model, and the turbo on the track. And I got to tell you, they really are the best handling vehicles. You can throw them into corners. The brakes are fantastic. Porsches are legendary for the brakes, and that applies to their trucks as well. You forget you're driving such a big vehicle. The biggest improvement in the lineup, though, is surprising, is the base model, the V6. It's so much better than the first version. It's really going to appeal to people that might be looking at a BMW X5 or maybe an ML from Mercedes or even the Audi Q7. It really is an option now. Much better vehicle, and this turbo version of the Cayenne is downright scary. When Porsche first came out with the Cayenne, I thought they had sold out and cashed in on the SUV craze. Well, Porsche certainly did cash in, but along the way they also produced the fastest and sportiest SUV on the planet. These vehicles really are a good option for somebody that already has a Porsche sports car but needs something bigger, and they will attract new buyers to the brand. Everybody else is just trying to keep up. I'll take mine in silver.
Want to buy a new car but can't decide? Go to driving.ca and do your own research by using the comparison tool.